Can guardianship force somebody into treatment? So the two-word answer, which is the favorite answer for every lawyer, for every question, is it depends. What does it depend on? Well, it depends on what authority the court has given to the guardian. So there are basically 12 rights that we can take away from somebody, including the right to decide where they live and things of that nature, control their money, restrict their ability to travel, take away the right to vote, take away a driver's license. There's 12 of them. I apologize if I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but there's a whole bunch of them, and it really enables us to get control over what is a very out of control situation sometimes. Now, what about sending somebody to treatment? Yeah, we can get an order to send somebody to treatment. May have to go back and ask the judge for that specific extraordinary authority, but the other thing that goes along with this is getting the authority, extraordinary authority, to make sure that when they do go to treatment, they also take their medications. Okay, because if somebody goes to treatment and they're med non-compliant, then it just makes the whole treatment component a little unsavory, right? Because they're still unbalanced. And so normally if we're going to do that, if we actually need it, then we'll go back to court and say, Judge, okay, we need to make sure they take their medications because they're in treatment, they're doing what they need to, but they're really having a tough time. Can we get that authority? And a lot of the time, as long as we can make a good case, the court's going to give us that authority. So guardianship is really neat because we can go back and get extra things added on if and when we need it, and if we can obviously establish the need for it to the court. Whereas the Marchman Act says Mark's going to treatment for 90 days. That's it. Okay, it doesn't give us the ability to go back and ask for more because the statute doesn't contemplate any more. In other words, the court would not have authority to do anything other than send Mark to treatment for the next 3 months. But on a guardianship, yeah, we can do a lot more, and that's why I'm a big fan of guardianship. I'm also a big fan of doing guardianship with a Marchman Act because I think that gives us ultimate control and 2 courts and 2 judges to run back to get some relief. But remember, Marchman Act is really designed for primary substance use. So we're going to have drug use of some kind that we can prove. And I know sometimes that when families call us, they haven't seen their loved one for maybe weeks and sometimes months at a time. And as lawyers, we always have to consider, how would the court rule if somebody says, hold on a second, you haven't seen him in 3 months. Sorry, I'm sure that you're right. They are using, but Mr. Astor hasn't presented any evidence. Well, because his client hasn't seen their loved one in a while. So always things to bear in mind. Evidence is obviously key and critical. And as lawyers, we're always worried, can we prove our case? Because there's nothing worse than giving money to a lawyer and you go in there and there's no evidence. In fact, that's a good way to get, to really tick off the judge. And part of our intake process is making sure we have enough evidence. So anyway, that's another video on guardianship. Also in the description for the video, talking about Marchman Act, is a link to our brand new book, all about the Marchman Act. And I wrote it for you, 9 chapters, written and video content. And it's 100% free. You click on the link, you give us your name, your email address, and we'll send it to you. I want you to have the information you need about the Marchman Act. If there's another issue that's going on in your family and, well, I didn't make a video about it, let me know. Post in the comments, I will make you that video. If you like this content, please give me a thumbs up. Really helps with the Google algorithm. And if you want more of this content that I make every day, please subscribe to the channel. And with that said, I appreciate you tuning into this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.